What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Pnelly podcast, episode 2. We made it. I am your host, Peyton Nelson, aka Pnelly, and we have a great podcast for you guys today. I'm having my good friend Collin Kyro on today. He does sports car. He's been doing sports car collecting all his life, and he's also doing voiceovers for some places, because he's got a great voice. So we're going to sit down, talk about the sports car market, talk about what he's doing with the whole voiceover stuff, and also talk about the Wolves. And while we're on the topic of the Wolves, I actually had the opportunity to sit down and have an interview with Timberwolves superfan Jordan Dye. At least I like to call him the Timberwolves superfan because he's at every game. He's sitting courtside. You guys have probably seen him. He's got buzzed hair like me, except he's got it's blue and sometimes it's green. He goes and gets it done. Super cool guy. We kind of talked about the Wolves a little bit, talked about his journey and kind of becoming the Wolves superfan, and also talked about his clothing brand, Lamb Chop Clothing. Like I said, about the Wolves sports card journey and all that good stuff coming up here next. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and I want to cue the theme music and the intro that I am going to get done tomorrow. So cue the theme song. All right, I'm here with a very special guest, Minnesota Timberwolves superfan, Jordan Dye. Jordan, how are you feeling on a night like tonight?
Feeling good. It feels good to be back. We had a lot of games, and now it's had a little break. Now finally back, so good.
I got to ask, how long have you been a Timberwolves fan for?
Man, since 94, 95, when I was 3 or 4 years old. So,
who's your all-time favorite Timberwolf?
Kevin Garnett, for sure.
Okay, for sure. And so I see, you go to a lot of games. You got a lot of Wolves swag. What's your favorite piece of Wolves, item that you have?
Man, I love the KG era tree jerseys. Those are definitely my favorites. The white, black, blue, all of them. I love all those.
That's sweet, man. I've seen you wear it around, and I got to ask another thing, too, is your hair. It's awesome. What's the story behind the hair?
Man, honestly, I don't know. I've been dyeing it for probably 7 or 8 years now, but just cut it off again before. I had long hair last season and cut it off before the season, and loved the Bulls growing up. So Dennis Rodman got some inspo from that. So
how long does something like that take to
It's usually about 2.5, 3 hours for the dye job.
Okay, cool. And then you're also the owner of Lamb Chop Clothing.
Yep.
And I see a couple Timberwolves players rocking it here and there. And so I just wanted to kind of ask what is Lamb Chops? Tell everyone what it is and where they can purchase something if they want.
For sure. So the website's SG Lamb Chops and Instagram, sglambchops.com. So it's a kind of streetwear clothing line. Do a lot of sweatsuits, shorts, hats. The main symbols or logos like a butcher knife, so it symbolizes the butcher cutting the bad parts out of the meat to make the best cut of meat, cutting the bad parts out of your life to make the best version of you. So,
I like that. That. How long have you been doing that for?
10 years now. So
really?
Yep. Just came up on 10 years. So
nice. And what players on the Wolves do you know that are rocking it?
Jordan McLaughlin,
awesome.
Jalen Noel a little bit, Josh Minot. Those guys are kind of the main ones that have been kind of rocking with it. But
that's cool. And then last but not least, final question: what is your out of all the games you've been to? What's one of your favorite memorable moments? Just one. Give me one of them.
I would say recent history, definitely the playing game against the Clippers.
That was fun.
Yep. And then Game 7 against the Wolves against the Kings, KG time in the playoffs. Go to the Western Conference Finals. That was a while ago at this point, so I don't remember it as well, but that was definitely. I remember it was just the energy in here and having the chance to go to the Western Conference Finals, and KG just had a crazy game, and so that was fun.
That's awesome. Hey, Jordan, I really appreciate your time, and I look forward to hopefully doing this again, and hopefully later on in the season when we're making a big playoff run.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Jordan Dye, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, well, we're live, kind of.
We're live.
Recording.
Yeah.
Collin, how's it going? How you
It's going
feeling
pretty
on
good.
a night like tonight?
We're trying to survive this snowstorm we're getting here.
I think I mentioned that in the intro. I don't know. I already forgot. The intro took a couple takes. I don't know if you heard me in the other room trying to
No, I didn't
trying to do it.
nothing.
It took me a couple takes. Still getting used to being on camera and all that stuff.
No, it takes time. You learn through it. You learn through experience. Even myself, us helping out with Johnny Benny Media, doing the news and doing everything. Like, I realized I need practice talking in front of the camera.
Yeah.
And like my booth thing I've got going on, we can talk about that a little bit later on. But when I look at myself, like if I have my phone propped here, and I look at myself, and it's kind of discouraging in a way. It's tough. It is
tough.
It's a tough skill that you got to learn. But it's one of those things where you just have to keep doing it and keep practicing, and eventually you'll get it down. But I'm far from it. Like I said, you're way farther ahead of it than I am, but I'm way far behind on it. I need to practice more on it. So.
And I'm not a pro by any means, but podcasting is a lot harder than it actually is, as we're learning right now.
Yeah,
and
true.
as I've learned, because we really learned within the past.
Probably, but
what?
hopefully this can hear me. But,
oh yeah, no, you're good. What we've learned in the past year, because for those who don't know, we did that sports card podcast a long time ago. I tried. I don't know if it's still up there. I tried to take it down.
If I look at my name on Google,
it shows up.
It shows up after a couple clicks down. So.
And we were dropping some mad knowledge about the sports cards and stuff, and then we just kind of got busy towards the end of the semester.
No, it got super busy, and it was a lot of fun. You know, we
last semester
we built up a pretty big following behind it, which was pretty cool.
Local within
following.
the sports card world.
Yeah, and it was a lot of fun. It definitely kept you a lot more engaged in sports cards too, which I thought was fun.
Yeah.
Because we'd go to the show all the time and we'd talk to people and people would listen to our podcasts, and we would definitely be like, oh, like this is something we could be talking about. Like, did you notice this? This is something we can kind of talk about and stuff like that. So, no, it was a lot of fun. We got a lot of good experience from it. I mean, now we can. I remember the first time we did it, or first couple times we did it. We tried so hard to get that microphone in the middle to pick up the sound. And then the camera wasn't recording one time. And, or probably a couple times, honestly.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, that's one thing, I didn't even start a timer. We're going to have to go off of this because I know that this camera, you kind of got to do something to it. It shuts off. But
again, it's just part of that learning experience.
Part of the learning experience. But I mean, well, we're on to the topic of the cards, sports cards. Do you want to kind of just tell, I know how you got into it, but like, do you just kind of do a little rundown of just kind of when you got into it? I can kind of chime in on when I got into it, because it was a while after because you got into it like when you were young.
I got into it when I was really young. I started collecting like the WWE action figures because I was really big into WWE. And I remember in 2009, we were watching one of the Vikings games on one of the TVs out in the garages, and I saw Brett Favre play. And I saw him throw that touchdown to Greg Lewis in the back of the end zone against the 49ers. Legendary. And after that, I wanted a Brett Favre jersey. I got into football, and all of a sudden started getting into the cards too. And I was like, oh, these cards are cool. We'd go to Dollar Tree, pick up a couple packs here and there, whatever, for $1. We'd see cards at Target, and then like if we went to a garage sale and there was cards, we'd pick them all up, and Nick and I, my brother, we'd look through them all, and we would just sit there for hours and just look through cards. And it was cool having a card and looking up the price on eBay or whatnot, whatever we were looking up the prices on, and kind of just got hooked in that way. And I'd say probably about 2010 probably got into it. That's when we really started getting into it, and then kind of got out of it in high school because I decided I wanted to play football and pursue football and kind of other things. So unfortunately sold the collection a little early. Kept one though, my LeBron. I still have it, the auto, the big one. Still got that one, bought that one at the National in 2016. But after I was done with, I don't know if it was after I was done with football in high school, but you started going to the show with Nick because Nick went to the show by himself for a while because I was pretty much out of it. And you started going with Nick, and you're like, you should just start doing it again, And I was like, like, whatever. Like, I'll start. I don't even know how I got back into it or whatever, but just kind of got back into it, and kind of the rest is history since then. I mean, now I'm kind of at the stage again where I'm kind of slowing down on it just because everything in life is so busy around us right now. It's tough to it's tough to keep up on a lot of things, but also financially it's a little tough. You know,
It is.
as
Oh my
everybody
gosh,
knows,
it is.
we're college students. And,
Yep.
Senior
There's a
college
difference.
students.
There's a college student, but when you're a senior college
Yeah,
student,
and,
it's like
and you're preparing. We're in the last
Yeah.
semester here, and we're winding down. We got stuff coming up, so
Mm-hmm.
it's hard to have that extra money, which I've had previously before. It's hard to have that extra money for cards and
Mm-hmm.
stuff, you know. But it's cool because I'm selling some stuff, kind of liquidating some stuff that I don't need or use or really want anymore. All it does
Mm-hmm.
is sit, and it's nice. I'm getting a little bit of money. It gives you a little cushion, which is
Yeah.
nice. It's nice as a college student to have a little cushion for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
it's fun.
that's obviously, like, it's amazing to hear that you're, being able to utilize, those cards that you had invested in as a kid,
Yep.
essentially, and
Yep.
now you're utilizing it to pay rent,
Yep.
pay for your tuition,
Yep.
prepare you for, I guess the outside
next
world.
step,
Yeah, the
pretty
next step.
Yeah.
And, that's something that, I feel like not many people can say they've done.
No, not at all.
I'm doing it on a way smaller scale. Because I got into cards way later than you did. I'd never really kind of poured a lot. Not that you poured a lot of money into it, but like at the time, I never really did. I would get your guys' leftovers. I remember sitting in the basement. I'm like, you're like, here, have this. I'd go to the show, do what I can, and eventually kind of worked my way up. And then we went to the most recent national card show, and I got lucky at the casino.
Yeah, that was nice. That was fun.
$25 free slot play, put it in a machine, pulled the lever, and then $460 later, I had some extra coin, and I went to the card show the next day and spent it on some Devin Booker autos. And now I'm trying to sell my stuff, trying to get some better podcast equipment, whatever. And
Yeah, for sure.
It's
cool because you're taking that money that you used for kind of investment purposes, liquidating that and using it to buy real tangible objects like podcast equipment, like gasoline, food. Like this is stuff that you can, obviously the podcast is used, but stuff that you use and need too, which is very cool.
Yep. And I always tell everyone too, because I was telling people at the card show, because last weekend was our first card show.
Yeah.
And I mean, since around Christmas time, which
Yeah,
that
it's
one,
about
I don't even
Christmas.
count that one because it wasn't a good one. But I'm telling everyone, I'm trying to sell most of my stuff, which, I was able to sell, a lot of little things. And I'm not done by any means. I don't know about you. I'm not done by any means. I'm not going to be able to make it to every show, but it's still something I like to do, because regardless if you go and you make good trades or you make money, whatever, it's still something fun to do, especially here in a state where there's not a lot to do in the winter. And so I think it's that's why I've always liked cards, is it's always given us something to do. We've met a lot of cool people, and you've like I said, you're selling your stuff, and you bought that LeBron auto at age, was it 17 or 16?
Yep, it was the national out in Atlantic City, New Jersey, and we drove out there. I think we stayed the night, whatever. Went to the show the next day, all day. But no, it was pretty interesting. I think I walked in to that national with like maybe about $1,000 in my pocket, which as a 16-year-old, that's a lot of money.
And I walked into the last national with about that amount, and I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have this much to spend on cards.
I just got my license. I worked all summer at $5 pizza, and I was mowing lawns still.
Days.
So I was saving up every dime I had for that national. And bought a couple things, whatever. But then I remember, I think that was the year Nick got a Jordan auto, and I'm like, I want a Jordan auto, but I want a LeBron auto. So I was looking around for one, and I passed up on a dual LeBron Jordan auto on card, numbered to 50, I remember, for $700.
Ooh.
It's like a $40,000 card. No, I passed up on that.
That's all right.
Because I was like, I want just LeBron. I was like, he's the best of our generation. Like, I think it'd be cool to have one. So I ended up spending $800 on a rookie auto, and that's one I still obviously have. But it was pretty interesting dealing with the guy, because he had a stack of like 5 or 6 of them sitting out, and he's on his phone, and he, I'm a little 16-year-old kid. Hey, like, how much you want on LeBron? I think he might have had 9. I said, would you take 8 on it? Oh yeah, he's on his phone. Oh yeah, whatever. Like, basically just handed him the money, took the card, didn't even say thank you, whatever. He went his way, I went my way, whatever, and I don't know, the rest is history, So it was pretty cool hanging on to that card too, because you watch it increase in value over time. So I remember I remember when I bought it. I bought it for $800. It went up to, I think like 2 summers later, it went up to like $2,000 or something. I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool, whatever. And then I remember in like 2019-ish, it was like all of a sudden it just went up to like $5,000. And I remember we saw one sell for $8,000. And I'm like, oh, it's pretty cool. Like, I'm just still gonna hang on to it or whatever. And then when the card market boomed in 2020, which was a very fun time in cards.
That was
it was going for time. About, they were comping at like 25 to 30 grand, which I probably should have sold it at that time, but I'm like, I'm hanging on to it. Like, all of us had the card bug. We were itching for cards.
Oh my gosh. We had a perfect storm of rookie classes in all sports to like.
No, but we had, hindsight's 2020. I should have sold it then, but I didn't sell it. And like I said, I'm liquidating a lot of my stuff now, and if I'm still not decided. I'd like to sell it because, like I said, we're college students, kind of preparing for the next step in life. But I don't know if I can sell it. Nick told me not to sell it. He's like, it's going to be worth $100,000 someday, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know. I mean, even from $800 to $15,000 is quite a bit of money.
Yeah.
So.
That's what I was going to say. So you bought it for $800. That was your initial investment. And now if you had to like take a hard guess, what would you say it's like totally worth now? Like if you were to put it on eBay right now, like what would it be worth?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, I don't know if I'd put it on eBay. I would try to sell it outside of eBay with a consignment or like a private deal. Yeah. I'm thinking I think I can get somewhere in that 15 to 20 range. Obviously I'm going to ask at the 20 and then see what happens. I don't even know if I would sell it for 15 because it's my pride and joy. Like every other card I have, like I have some valuable stuff. I've sold some valuable stuff, but I don't have that emotional attachment to it like I do that auto because I've had it since I was a 16-year-old. Because I remember the drive out there. I just got my license. We drove 26 hours to Atlantic City from Minnesota. Just got my license. My dad's sleeping in the back. Nick's sleeping up front. It's 2 a.m. going through Pennsylvania and rocks are falling, semis are, flying past you going 80, 90, and I'm sitting there like, I just started driving a couple months ago.
Wow, that's a lot of trust.
Yeah, and then I remember staying in Atlantic City the first time, stayed in a very rundown, it must have been like a Motel 8 or something. You got the crack house on the other side of the street, and seeing the boardwalk for the first time, kind of experiencing that, like, all those memories go along with that card too. So I think that's why I think it's so sentimental to me. So, but it's fun. I enjoy, cards and stuff, they come and go, but that card is something I kind of hold near and dear.
Yeah. Well, I mean, who knows? Maybe you sell it and you end up buying it later on down the road when Collin in the booth takes off.
Yeah, exactly. Once I can afford 8 or 10 of them, hopefully someday down the road. But I don't know. I'm thinking about it now. I'm kind of on the fence about it. I still got to do a little more thinking on it. But I've been so busy with everything else lately that I haven't had time to think much on it. So,
it'd be interesting if you were to maybe kind of ask around or DM some of the bigger, the more well-known people in the card community because they would potentially be interested. Maybe even someone like a Gary V who. I don't know where he stands now with the sports cards, but I know back in the day, I always say we saw his sports card like addiction start when we were at the 2019 National, I believe, in Chicago. Yeah. And we were sitting there, and this was right when he had gotten into it, correct? Or like publicly said he got into it. Yeah. And we were standing there looking at some random person's like case with just like, it was a ton of like crazy stuff in there, Jordan autos, whatever. And he came up next to us. I didn't know who he was at the time. You said you had kind of knew who he was. And he stood there and then he set his bag down, didn't he pull out like a wads of cash just ready to buy? Yep. And he and then all of a sudden the whole crowd came over and we're looking at him, taking pictures of him and stuff and like that. And then like you and I dipped because we were like, there's too many people over by us, Well,
he was standing next to us right away for a little while, like negotiating on a couple of LeBron or Jordan rookies. One person came up and then another, and you and I are like, what the fuck's going on? Yeah. And then we're like, no, this ain't even worth it. Like, let's just kind of get out of here, whatever. Yeah. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, there's like 10 people surrounding him. A couple people had their phones out, but that was before the card influencer kind of movement a little bit. But
Yeah.
But Gary Vee, yeah, we were there to see the start of it, you know, which is pretty interesting. He was kind of one of the main reasons why the sports card market kind of exploded like that. Because I remember him posting the picture of the LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 10 on his story or Twitter and being like, I'm buying these at $1,500 a pop. You could go to the National and you could buy one for $13 and sell it to him for $15. Then all of a sudden he's like, yep, still buying them for $15. Then all of a sudden they went up to like $1,700, and all of a sudden, boom, something happened. I think COVID probably happened. People were sitting at home, and then, you know, obviously Gary Vee got into it. A couple other kind of like influencers or kind of speakers or kind of got into it more too. And the next thing you know, those LeBron PSA 10s are up to like $30,000, and I'm like,
the Luka stuff was the stuff that I wish I had at that time. His stuff was like, if you had anything of his rookie,
remember the Prism
gold.
Base cards? Remember what I bought the one Prism Base from you for? The one
I think it was like, damn,
$10. I gave
$10.
I gave you a $10 bill, and you went and bought McNuggets with it.
Well, I didn't know who Luka was. You know, I had no clue who Luka was at the time, because I keep up with sports. You know, I do this whole thing, but like I don't. Like, my life isn't devoted to it, you know. It's mainly the Wolves for myself, and then, like, you know, a little bit of UFC, and then, like, keep up with everything else. And the Suns. I do love the Suns. I keep up with that a little bit. But, I had no clue who Luka was. And, you know, I was bringing that card. I don't know. I was supposed to bring it to your dad's at some point. Threw it in the Puma backpack. And then I was going on a party bus. I think it was in the fall. It must have been in the fall. I don't know. And went on a party bus with it. Still didn't get damaged. Didn't even realize it until
the storm somehow.
Until the next day. I was like, oh, shoot, wow. The Luka card is the Luka card that was, you know, going to be worth a lot of money, was sitting in my backpack. And now I don't even know if you have it. You don't have it anymore, do you?
No, I don't know. I have a PSA 9 that I just got back from the sub. That lasted 2 years, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah, that's an ongoing story for another day.
Still going on, and he got back to me today, and I don't know. We'll figure it out.
But
we'll get it figured out. But it's fun. The card journey has been a lot of fun. It's been really good to me. It's really taught me how to save my money, because growing up, I never spent money on really anything unless I had to. I would take the money I got and spend it on cards, because that's what got me excited. Like, I look forward to every Saturday we went to a show, whether it was Tom's show in Arden Hill or Hills, or Pal's show in Andover, or the Bloomington show once a month. Every weekend we would have a card show, so I would save my money for that. You know, mow a couple lawns, get $20, and then if I was working at $5 pizza, you know, I'd take my paycheck or whatever and go spend it at the card show. So it was a lot of fun. Taught me a lot of valuable knowledge about my finances, but it also taught me to negotiate. You know,
that's a big part.
I hate going somewhere and like, if I'm buying something, I always ask if they can go lower. You know, retail's a little tough, obviously, but if I'm buying from someone or something, I'm always I was told once, only a fool pays full price. Yeah. So I kind of I'm not frugal with my money, but I kind of live by that, because a lot of times people can kind of go down. So it's taught me a lot. Taught me a lot about talking to people, business, just kind of the art of the deal, kind of small talk too, but also when it's time to get down to business, how to kind of
segue into it.
Yeah. So
it's
been really good.
The sports cards they're fun. I think they're good to get into. I think now is probably. I think it's kind of revamping back up a little bit, maybe, just because from what we saw at the last card show, there was a ton of people. Yeah. And, I mean, it is mid-January or February, so, like, you know, maybe people just want something to do. But it seemed to be doing pretty well.
There was a lot of people there all day. There was a lot of people.
I think there's more. I think it's. I'm trying to think of the best words to say. Like, it's not uncovered yet. I think 2020 was like a hint, but
you think there's more ahead?
I think there's more ahead if the right people get into it, because it's like sneakers.
That's true.
And that's the way I kind of look at it.
It's like sports gambling has gotten so huge, but like this is a tangible, like almost like a player stock in a way. Yeah. You know, and you know, obviously the stock market's been big and whatever. But sports gambling's huge, and people,
Mm-hmm.
would you rather bet $100 on this game? You either win money or you lose money right away, or would you rather have this card where it could possibly appreciate in value over time? But I don't know. I think it's a good thing to get into. It teaches a lot. But like I said, I'm not on my way out of it. I definitely am gonna continue to do it for fun and hanging out, because we've built relationships with dealers throughout the years. So we go down there, and even if it's to give Dan a Arby's meal, you know, like
It's fun.
It's worth it, man. It's fun to go check up and go see what Aaron's up to, and go say hi to Dave and Travis and B&E and
oh yeah, dude! Shout out to all the dealers. They're real ones, man.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Shout out to the dealers.
They make the shows. They make the shows what they are, fun and everything.
No, it's always a good time. So it's a lot of fun though.
But yeah, another thing I kind of wanted to talk about is what we do, at the Timberwolves games. I know locally here at St. John's, a lot of people ask, they're curious about how we're going down there, how we're getting these media passes, what we're doing, and stuff.
People even ask me about it, and I'm like, well, I don't know. It's how much time do you have?
Yeah.
I could tell you all about it. But yeah, people even ask me about it. So
Well, I just think the best way I put it, I always tell people, is we're just trying to make it happen. I mean, we're in a unique situation, like I talked about in the last podcast, is like, I'm fortunate to have my dad who gets the media passes, and then now, we're both old enough, and you're on board with 10,000 Takes radio and TV show now. So, we're doing work for them, but then like we're just kind of we're down there trying to make connections. We started putting up kind of content, and you're a big help. Collin was the one who held the camera for the Jordan Dye interview that was played earlier.
Good interview. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
I enjoyed talking to him.
Yeah,
We'll talk to him again when we go down there.
Yeah, maybe even get him on the podcast, because I know that
cool.
he's probably got tons of stories to tell about Timberwolves games, and sitting 3 seats down from John Morant's dad. Well, Craig Hatspirit and Glasses is his username. That's what I kind of like to call him. I don't know,
Sure.
But he was wearing the Shannon Sharp jersey, and then Ja's dad was a few seats down away from him and Jordan Dye, and
and Jordan Dye was chirping Ja at the game too, which was pretty funny.
What, like that was like
Ja
a
was
couple
chirping
weeks
back.
after that incident too?
Well, it was about a week and a half, 2 weeks,
Yeah.
I think, right after Shannon Sharp and Ja's dad got into it a little bit. It's
Yeah,
they dapped up and stuff, but there's no hard feelings. But
that was
the Timberwolves games are fun. They're very fun to go down to, because you feel the excitement down there.
Man,
you feel the energy right when you get your bags checked. You walk back there, and you see some of the people that we know back there. They're kind of running around a little bit. Then you go in and get a drink, or maybe get the meal or whatever. But then you head out through the tunnel into the actual arena by the court there, and you can just feel the energy. People are running around, the band's going or something, or there's dance team going, or players are running around warming up, and you feel that excitement, and
that's even before fans come.
Yeah,
because we get there pretty early, because we're always looking for content. Players just warming up. I kind of started filming a lot of the players doing their little plyometrics before their games, posting those. I like to just at least help out a couple players, if they're looking for a good warm up. But and it's just like the music starts playing, and then like the fans do get in there, and they all wait for autographs. And one thing about the Wolves players I've noticed is they always sign. They always sign. Like they're coming in. From warming up, like they're kind of locked in, and like I've seen Ant, I've seen Jaden McDaniels, Cat for sure.
Cat a lot.
I've TP and Nasri, honestly all of them, but they don't leave anyone empty-handed. Like I saw one guy who was in the front grabbing stuff from the back for him to sign, and J-Mac signed every single one.
Really?
And I'm sure you get that with other teams, but I don't know, man. I just think that the players understand that like the Wolves fans are, I don't think there's any fan base like the Timberwolves fan base.
The Timberwolves do really have a good fan base. Minnesota, we're kind of an underrated hoop city. Like these Timberwolves fans really get into it. You see these, everybody's decked out in the Timberwolves gear, and people are yelling and screaming. Like people are really into it.
Yep.
And a lot of people really keep up with it too. and I think Minnesota doesn't get the respect we deserve.
No.
But we are a basketball city. But the fans really, really do get into it, and they're great fans too.
Yeah.
You know, they're that energy they give off. Like I said, it's second to none. I haven't felt that at a game really. I mean, like any other game really. To be honest with you, I think the Timberwolves is their fan base really create an exciting environment.
Yeah, especially, because they're so hungry. I'd say, the Wild fan base are up there because I've been fortunate to go to some Wild playoff games, and those are pretty intense. But, yeah, the Timberwolves fan base is great. Even though we're media, I'm a fan, obviously.
For sure.
I feel like I'm part of the team almost because we cover the team for the most part. And some of those players are not much older and even a little younger than we are. So it's like, you kind of have that connection. You're really hoping, like rooting for them to do well.
Yeah.
And the players are cool. Every interaction I've had with players, like, I haven't had too many with the Wolves players other than the post-game press conference. I've asked, players questions and they all good eye contact. They don't just sit there like this, even after a loss. They have great eye contact. They address your question the best they can. I've been fortunate to talk to Kat a little bit about sports cards. And I, talked to Luka Garza a little bit just because at the time, I know a lot of my followers like Luka Garza content. So I was just kind of asking him about Iowa and sort of stuff like that. And he was really cool, respectful, took time to talk to me. And it was, the Wolves, it's a great organization. I hope, that we can make something happen this year.
Agreed.
But you and I kind of talked about, got to be patient though, because this could take, a season or two.
It could, with Rudy and now Towns coming back after the All-Star break here. Ant looks like he took that step, but it'll be interesting to see how Cat fits in. Jaden McDaniels is the best defender in the NBA.
I saw a post, someone post, or I think it was NBA Central, was it? Or I don't remember, but they posted J-Mac basically A+ in all areas, and I was like, let's go.
He should be Defensive Player of the Year. But no, I mean, Taurean Prince is still playing well. Mike Conley and the Rudy Gobert connection is going to be big, I think. Going forward, I think there's a lot of positive things about the Timberwolves. I mean, even though they did go into the All-Star break with a bad loss at home. We were at that game.
We were at that game.
Against the Washington Wizards. They were up by, 26? 20 or 26. And they ended up kind of blowing it towards the end there. Kind of a disappointing loss. But, it was right before All-Star break, so a lot of teams would have rested their players. So, I have a question for you about when we go down there and you look for content, is there anything specifically you look for to this is good, I could do a TikTok of this, or look it up there, I'm going to get a video of this and get a video of this, and or does that kind of happen when you're looking back at what you took videos and pictures of and be like, this video and this picture and this and that, this goes good together, I think this will do, or this looks cool, or this is good?
I would say there's two parts to it. The stuff that I go in there looking for are for sure the dunks, because those have been the best ones, I would say. The best one on my TikTok right now is currently that LeBron dunk.
Sure.
You and I are both profiting off of Lebron.
In
a way, you
got
your most expensive
shout
part,
LeBron.
my most viewed, post. So shout out to Bron. But no, the dunks, I always like getting the players horsing around. When you and I went to the Mavs game against the Wolves earlier this year, and all they did was they didn't even warm up really.
There was no warm up.
There was no
just
warm
horsing
ups.
Around.
Yep, and I know another one was Curry. He was Eurostep into one of Drake's new songs at the time, and I just kind of find little things that I think would be cool. And the one that you talked about is I do look around a little bit to see if there's anything unique to post, but that's kind of separate from what I go in there. Some of a lot of the stuff is on the spot, that's cool, let me post that, and I do look around a lot. I'm always trying to find, a super fan, or, even Crunch is always doing some crazy stuff. So I'm always trying to look around for that. But I really kind of go in there and I don't want to say I rely on warm-ups, but warm-ups are my favorite part, because it's really the only time I pay attention, because during the game I'm, editing or putting up posts and stuff like that. So I don't get to watch much of the game, which is fine. That comes along with being a part of the media and,
sure.
Basically working while you're there.
Yeah.
But I do like to look around for unique stuff.
Yeah.
I'd say the Glue Girl one was pretty unique. That was very spontaneous. Sure. I wasn't even going to, do the like take a video of that. I didn't have a thought of doing it, and then it was like a split second of decision when I saw the guards coming off the court and they were like looked down at the handprint, and I was laughing, or they were laughing, and I was like, oh shoot, like I should go get a picture of that. Yeah, or get a video, and then that's where everything started. But to answer your question, I kind of just go in there. The plan is get the warm-ups first, because that's where you find, that's where I find the majority of my stuff, and then after that, it kind of just like takes off from there. I mean, I don't have a professional camera, so like in-game stuff is always hard to post.
Yeah.
But if Jay Jets is walking by, or if A-Rod's talking to Rod Carew, that makes good videos. Yeah. I at least would like to say so.
Plus another thing I feel like is obviously, a lot of people don't go to the games. They don't have the opportunities to go to the games and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They can watch what's going on the TV, but a lot of stuff that you show is stuff that you don't see on the TV, or stuff that you're only going to see if you're down there, if you're in the tunnel, or if you're here, if you're courtside next to this, or if, a lot of people don't get exposure to see that stuff. And that's why I think you kind of have that little niche in that, like a lot of people don't see this stuff, so like, oh, this is cool. I watched the Timberwolves on the TV, but I didn't see this. Because they weren't at the game.
Exactly, and I'm very grateful for that, because, like I said, I used to go to the games and put up some Twitter posts for 10K takes, and then just kind of like, that was it. I'd kind of watch the game. I was excited, and there's nothing wrong with that. But then it dawned on me, why don't I take advantage of the opportunity? And now, like I said, I go there after each win. I make sure I dart down to, because now I'm up in the media suite. I used to sit in the corner down low by the court, but I kind of like the media suite, a little bit more room to
I like the corner.
Edit. You do?
I'm opposed, because I like the corner, because you see people walking by and everything, and like I feel like you feel the energy more down there. You're kind of isolated when you're up in the suite. Obviously, it is nice to sit up there and get a little work done. But I'm opposed. I like sitting down there a little better.
Maybe next time I'll do like first half up top, get a lot of editing done, whatever, and then second half go down low.
Sure.
Because after each game, I like to go into the Timberwolves tunnel and get a video of just the players coming off the court after they win. They dab each other up, whatever. It's just kind of a cool video. I always like to put that on Twitter. Wolves win, just kind of celebration. And I think that's all stuff that people don't get to see. It'd be cool maybe next time. I just thought about this is stand back there when the Wolves run out for warm-ups. That's
that'd be cool.
Different angle on things. But yeah, I try to do as much as I can. I also try to enjoy it at some point. You do want to enjoy being there, like when LeBron's in town, you want to have your phone out, whatever. But at the same time, you just want to set the phone down. You just want to look at him warming up and being like, I'm in the presence of. I always think of when you see all those clips of Michael Jordan that you'd see in what was that called, The Last Dance.
The Last Dance. Yeah.
And you see all those clips and you see all the people in the background and stuff, and like they're watching it, whatever. So I kind of think about, we're watching LeBron's Last Dance right before our eyes in real life. Yep. So then when we're old heads and they come out with something, about him, which they
said they are.
Yep.
So.
We're gonna be like, who knows? Maybe we'll even be in the background.
We might. I don't know.
But I try to do as much as I can. I keep it very, pretty fan friendly. I keep it simple, not too complicated. I try not to throw too much words on there on the screen for two reasons. One, because it takes away from the video, and two, because I'm horrible at spelling, which,
it's one of those things
it's one of those things, got to slow down a little bit.
You got to learn.
But I like to, I guess, take people behind the scenes. Like I said, I almost thought about calling it behind the ropes, like media, but I don't know. I like the Pnelly media, know. But
what's your favorite part of going down there, do you think?
I would say
there's a lot of fun. Like the whole time when we get down there to the time we leave, it's jam packed.
It is fun.
But what's your favorite part, do you think?
My favorite part, honestly, is probably talking to everyone, because we know since last year, I didn't really know too many people. And now, like, we know not everyone, but we at least say what's up to pretty much everyone, and how friendly everyone is down there too. I feel like, if you were doing media down in LA, which who knows, but I feel like it wouldn't be as friendly. Like if I feel like up here, a lot of the security guards are cool with us. We're cool with some of the news people. All the other media people are really nice, and even the ones we don't talk to, they're still very nice. They're, they make sure I sit in the post-game press conference room, and they have their rotation of the same people that talk for ask questions.
Yeah.
And like the guy I always sit next to, he's always like asking me if I want to ask a question. And most of the time I don't. I'm kind of in there taking notes, whatever. But, they're all super cool. And I think it's just the people down there is what make it fun. I'd say, too, also the access, like we were talking about, the access, being able to go stand close up and just see even people like Kyle Kuzma. When we saw him last week, I was like, dang, that's Kyle Kuzma. Like,
he won a ring with LeBron, and he wore the long sweater.
Yeah, man, that's exactly. He was rocking the do-rag at the time.
Yeah, he was rocking the do-rag.
But
Porzingis was there. You're like,
dude,
what's up, brother?
Exactly.
Unicorn.
So I think the access and the people are my two favorite things because we get that great access. Fortunate, in a very unique position that not a lot of people, we get to be in. But I think we make the most of it. And I like to at least try to bring people with it, So I think that's my little tangent about the Timberwolves going to the games and stuff. And
it's a lot of fun. I would say one thing that I think that we got to start doing a little bit more is we got to eat a little bit because them medium meals, they don't come cheap, but hey, it's fun.
I need to pack. I did pack one time. I packed a meal before, and but it's a lot when you have your laptop in your backpack, potentially a camera, which we don't really bring as much, but potentially a camera. You got the tripods, the microphones, and it's hard to, I had my food spill the other day in the backpack. Luckily, nothing was in it other than like my charging cords. But we do need to eat before. But that's the only downside is you're hungry. And, the post-game pizza, it's all right. A couple pieces here and there. But after every game, post-game pizza, it's like, ooh, that's, it gets old in a little bit, but I'm glad they feed us because, they certainly don't have to.
No, not at all. What's describe the feeling of leaving a game? After a really good, game where, the Timberwolves won or like something big, like describe a feeling, like are you exhausted after? Are you energized? Are you kind of tired? Are you, like, what are you feeling
physically
leaving the game? Like how do you leave the stadium feeling?
I'd say, I think you can relate to this. I think physically you're tired.
Yeah.
But mentally you're still like going because from the moment you walk in, you got the Wolves DJ who does a really good job. He's going like I should.
Early
it'd
too.
be cool to interview him because he goes like you see him bouncing around like he's going in, man, and he starts early. He starts about an hour and a half before the game starts.
Yeah.
So he's going in and like there's the lights. The only thing that does suck too is the lights do give me a headache a little bit. I do struggle with lighting a little bit, but it is what it is. But I'd say you're physically tired because you're walking around, you're going up and down stairs, you go into the back, grabbing water, food, whatever. Yeah. And then, you're also, the editing part is what's crazy because, I have one earbud in usually, and then I'm trying to airdrop stuff to my laptop to edit and then airdrop it back to my phone and then upload it, hashtags. And then, something happens, out on the court, you kind of have to have the phone ready at any time because, as we know, there's just anything can happen. Yeah. So you're going at 110 miles per hour. And then, when you do finally get home, you shower, you take off your clothes, and you're just like, yeah, that was a good night, though. It was fun. Yeah. And it is a physically exhausting job, and we don't do it every day. Like I don't go to every single game. Like there's the game this Friday. I'm still on the fence on if I want to go because we also commute about an hour at least to the game. Yep. So that's also a task in and out of itself. Yeah. So I'd say it's definitely very physically demanding sometimes, and we don't do it. I couldn't imagine like doing it every game. I'm sure you get used to it and it's fun, but it is. It's a lot, but, it's hopefully training. It basically is training us for if, you and I do go down that road, because I know you had mentioned you kind of want to work for a sports team and everything like that. And
get in the sports industry.
Yeah, somehow. Get in the sports industry, which is not a bad industry to get into, obviously. And, so I think that it's kind of preparing us for what we might be doing in the future. But speaking of the future... we had talked about it a little bit more, or talked about it a little earlier. The Collin in the booth.
Yeah.
We're partnering up and doing a little bit. Yeah.
I wouldn't say we're not diving into it. Myself, I'm not diving into it. I'm just kind of testing the waters a little bit, kind of seeing what I can do. Obviously, I realize that I need more practice with reading.
Same.
And speaking while reading is the thing. I can read something on, textbook or whatever, but when you're speaking, like what you're seeing is very tough, and that's why I'm glad that we get good experience with Johnny Benny Media doing it, reading off the teleprompters, reading the campus news. But I still need a lot of practice with it, I think. Or I know I need a lot of practice with it, and I think it'll be fun. It'll be good. It's just kind of one of those things where it's like, I just want to see how far I can go with it, you know? Like, I don't know. Like, yeah, get a little bit of money out of it, do whatever, but I just kind of want to see how far I can go with it, because I've been told a lot that I have a good voice. I've been told by people, just like last couple weeks ago, I was getting my hair cut, and the lady cutting the hair next to my chair or whatever goes, "Oh, like, you have a great voice. Like, you should do radio and stuff like that." And I've heard people say I have a nice voice, so kind of want to bless some people's ears with it, I guess. Bless some ears and
put it on a t-shirt.
Hopefully don't make them bleed.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great thing to do.
We might be making them bleed a little bit right now,
or making them lose some brain cells.
But hey,
I don't know.
Everything's a process. Like you said before, if I don't remember what the exact saying was, but like, if you don't start it, then you're still at the same place you were before.
Exactly. So, yeah. And if you do
just
start
like your TikToks and like everything else, like, no offense, but the fitness stuff was wild, man. It was rough.
It was rough. I mean, yeah, it was like, the stuff I was doing, I thought was informational, but it's just how, like, setting the phone on a medicine ball and, like, no, that's not how to do it.
But you know a lot more now than you did before.
Exactly.
Because you got over the hump of just kind of starting it and just kind of, like, pushing through it and just, like, taking it day by day, but also just learning from what you've done and your mistakes and kind of guiding yourself through that, which is huge, and which I look forward to doing. Obviously, it's a little tough with getting down into the booth just because I'm so busy, working quite a bit with school and trying to lift and trying to, projects, this and that, and everything else. I've got a lot going on, and it is really tough to get down there. And then, you get down there and I spend an hour in the booth, and I might have got one thing done. Yeah. And like the rest of them, I'm like,
you're not sure about
I'm like, I didn't like that one. Like, that one wasn't good enough. Here's this one. I think this one's good enough to get out, but like, I can get one done in an hour. Like that takes quite a bit for me to do. And then, it's also a lot of energy to be sitting in that booth and talking and like messing with your voices, your pitch and everything else. And should I do this? Should I do that? And then you're clicking the record and this and that. And it's a lot of work to do, but it's fun. And, it's just, like we said, it's one of those things that it will come with experience. So I'm looking forward to keep going with it, and hopefully I can get in the booth again here this week, maybe drop a couple things. If any of your listeners,
if anyone needs a voiceover person,
if any of your TikTok viewers or anybody needs a little radio ad or something or some voiceovering, I'm the guy to do it. Hopefully, so hopefully they like my voice and find it soothing rather than making them bleed, like I said.
Yeah. Nah, like you had kind of said when we started it, you have a natural gift, and you may as well use it, and it's something that you learn as you go. Same thing with all this, and like, we have probably one of the most jank podcasts set up right now, and I'd say all podcasting.
Plus podcast might have take the cake on that one. I think
that's true.
This might be second.
This one's a little better, but
a little better.
Yeah, it's something you learn as you go, and that's kind of what we're doing, and that's the nature of things. And hopefully we're gonna take it to the next level. I'm hoping next episode I take this to the next level. I'm hoping to I've got a couple guests in mind, still haven't confirmed anything, but I'm hoping to get a better setup, and we're making our strides. So, but I'd say there's tons more that we could cover, and I'd say we save it for another episode, because we are running out a little bit of time. You made the cookies too, so I kind of want I kind of want to have one of them because I'm hungry.
You got some brownies on your mind?
Yeah, brownies. Yeah, whatever ones.
Yeah, it's a little tough
Either
to
or.
focus when you got the brownies on your mind. You know?
Yep, we got to run a couple errands and all that good stuff. But I'd say, we covered most of the stuff I wanted to talk about, and there's definitely more that we can talk about in future episode. But
well, hopefully I'll be on again.
Oh no, 110% you'll be on again, and and by that time you'll calling in the booth. Your voice will be well known by projected all over Minnesota radio.
No,
who knows?
I'm hoping.
Who knows?
Hopefully we can use the connections we got and that we set up and everything else. I'm excited though. I'm excited for the future, and we've been busy, but the work doesn't stop. So
no, horses don't stop. They keep going.
They keep going. Let's keep these horses going, and powder the old whatever, and
Joey Diaz style.
Let's get going. Let's get on it.
Let's get to
work. So yeah.
Well, Collin, thank you very much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me on.
If you guys want to follow Collin on TikTok, it's at Collin in the Booth. I'll throw it in the bio of the podcast, and your card account is at CJK Cards. Or CJK _23. 23. If you look it up, he's got 10,000, 12,000 followers, one of the two. Yeah. You'll be the first person to pop up. I'll throw it in the bio, but go give him a follow, and horses don't stop. They keep going. Thanks for tapping in. Pnelly Podcast, episode 2. That's a wrap.
Horses don't stop. They keep going. Hey, you can lose your life, but it's gonna keep going. Why not risk life when it's gonna keep going? Yeah. When you die, somebody else was born, but